So I went to see Yvonne. We talked for a while, so she got an idea of, who I am. It took 2 trips, 2 hypnotic sessions to get all of the details that I was going to get. She took me back to that night where I was at my friend's house and asked me to just describe. See any details, just keep talking, as the images come. First thing I saw was a T-shaped thing. It was shaped like a T, and I got really upset. And I started yelling, and the T-shaped thing turned out to be it's a kind of bed, but it's not really a bed. It's more like a platform. And and I was laying on this thing, and my arms were out to my sides. My wrists were bound to it somehow, but I couldn't feel anything on my wrists. I just couldn't raise them off of it, but I could move my arms, just couldn't move the wrist. My ankles were the same way. The inside of this thing that I was in, it was metal, it was a domed ceiling, and there was a being standing next to me. It wore metal mesh clothing. It was robe-like, like cloth, but it was metal. And the reason why I know this is because the sleeve dragged across my face and I could see light glinting off the fibers. They had instruments that came out of the ceiling. One of those instruments was looked like a black arm of some kind, and it unfolded out of the ceiling. The tip of it looked a lot like a stinger, like the tip of a scorpion, if you will. They inserted it into my left nostril and pressed it all the way up into my head. It was excruciating pain. They brought in another device. It was cylindric. It had brass, looked like brass-like metal and darker metals in layers. And they placed it on my left ear and inserted something into my ear. And again, I heard crunching noises. They didn't seem to be either aware or concerned about inflicting the pain. It's just a process to them. It seemed very mechanical to them. Their movements were slow and methodic. It seemed like they didn't make mistakes.
People often ask me whether there's any consistency in abduction accounts. The consistency is mind-boggling. What people talked about primarily is the procedures done to them when they were taken on board and placed on a table, and a, quote, examination was administered to them by gray aliens.